On September 14 of 2022, Netflix released a new crime thriller documentary called Sins of Our Mother. The limited series is about a conscientious religious woman's transition from being a loving mother to being the murderer of her children. At the centre of it all was Lori Vallow Daybell. The perplexing case, along with her husband Chad Daybell, has yet to be resolved as their trial is set for January 2023. The story gained national coverage for its shocking turn of events. Lori Vallow was allegedly brainwashed by a cult leader and charged with the murder of 2 of her children. Lori believed her children were zombies, but not in the traditional sense of eating brains, but in the sense that their souls had left their bodies. Dark souls lived in her children's bodies instead of her actual children, leaving their real mortal souls in limbo, desperate to move on to another life. The only way for their soul to be freed is to murder the person's physical body. And given Lori's religious beliefs, it's not surprising that she would murder her children in an attempt to help them. Before getting further in today's video, thank you so much for hanging out and watching today. My name is James and this is the restricted section. We upload 3 times per week. If you enjoy stories like this one, please do all that annoying stuff and like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. I know this can be annoying sometimes, but it really does help with the algorithm. If there are any stories you would like to see in future videos, please put them down in the comments section below. Lori Vallow was born in 1973 in San Bernardino, California. Life would be complicated for her. Before marrying Chad Daybell, she would get married 4 times, going by a few different names. Known initially as Lori Noreen Cox, then Lori Ryan Daybell, Lori Noreen LaGoya, and lastly Lori Vallow. Kobe, her oldest child, was born to Lori in her second marriage to William LaGoya. However, after that marriage failed, she began dating Joseph Anthony Ryan Jr., who raised Kobe as his own child. Vallow and Ryan gave birth to their daughter Tylee in 2002, but after their divorce in 2005, she met Charles Vallow, who would become her 4th husband. Charles's great-nephew Joshua Jackson J.J. Vallow was adopted by the 2 of them. Up until 2019, the Ryan kids and the Vallows coexisted as a blended family. For the majority of her 3 children's lives, Lori appeared to be the epitome of a devoted mother. A devoted mother of 3, a loving wife, and a woman of God, as she was described. The marriage was happy and Lori was an ideal mother. Well, that was until Charles sought a divorce due to changes in Vallow's behaviour. This strange behaviour started when Lori met Chad Daybell. Chad Daybell was a professional cemetery sexton from Rexburg, Idaho, who also wrote novels and podcasts. He was married to Tammy Daybell and they had 5 children. Chad created religious content centered on the apocalypse, or the end of the world. His religious beliefs were labeled as extreme, as he believed he could communicate with the dead and predict the future. Chad also believed that some people on Earth had souls that had left their bodies, and that killing the bodies was the only way to release their spirits to heaven. Lori was a religious woman. She grew up as a member of the Church of the Latter-day Saints, and more she began turning to religion with vigour. In 2015, Vallow reportedly started reading literature published by Chad, which focused a lot more on the end times. Chad believed that the apocalypse was coming, and believed that humans could be graded from light to dark. The dark individuals were possessed by the devil, while those who were light were followers of Jesus Christ. At an event in 2018, Lori first met Chad where he told her he believed they'd been married in 7 previous lifetimes. The 2 struck up a friendship and began doing religious podcasts together. Lori soon developed a cult-like devotion to him. She began spending more time with Chad and informed her friends and family that she had been chosen by God to carry out a mission. Lori believed that she was chosen to lead the 144,000 after the apocalypse, to lead the survivors of the human race to an eternal life while the rest of society burned. With all that, Lori's behaviour at home became stranger. She told Charles that she no longer cared about him or JJ, and that she believed she was the reincarnated wife of Joseph Smith, the founder of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. After 13 years of marriage, Charles Vallow filed for divorce in February of 2019, claiming Lori had threatened to murder him and had taken $35,000 from their bank account. He sought an order of protection against Lori because he was genuinely afraid for his life. Lori was telling Charles that he was already dead and there was a demon living inside of him. She threatened to murder and kill Charles if he tried to stop her preparations for the second coming in July of 2020. By this time, he had already gone to the police twice, and his fears come from valid reasons. In June 2019, Charles Vallow would discover a letter sent on his behalf by Lori asking Chad Daybell to come to Arizona to help him write a book. Charles confronted Lori. He allegedly told Laurie that if she didn't come clean about her relationship with Daybell, he would contact Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell. Laurie and Charles would have a tumultuous altercation as a result of this. Charles and Laurie's brother, Adam Cox, planned to do an intervention confronting Laurie about the letter and her radical beliefs, but the confrontations that would occur during the intervention would eventually result in Charles's death. On July 11, 2019, Charles was killed by Laurie's other brother, Alex Cox. Police officers responded to a 911 call made by Alex saying that he shot his brother-in-law. Alex claimed that it was an act of self-defense after Charles hit him with a baseball bat during an argument between Charles and Laurie that broke out. Tylee and JJ, who witnessed the pair arguing, both confirmed his story. However, Adam, the brother of Alex and Laurie, told Texas detectives that Laurie and Alex planned to kill Joe. One close friend of Laurie additionally said that Laurie hired Alex to kill Joe. And this is not the first time that Alex did something like this. Alex was convicted of assaulting Laurie's ex-husband, Joseph Ryan, with a taser. Alex was Laurie's protector, and he never hesitated to resort to violence if he believed he was defending his sister. But even with all these, the police decided not to pursue the matter any further. Alex died of natural causes a few months after the shooting, and he was never charged in connection with Charles's death. Charles had 2 sons from a previous marriage, and they were informed of his death via text message from Laurie. Just a few days later, Laurie tried to claim Charles's $1 million life insurance policy, only to discover that she was no longer the beneficiary. Surprisingly, or not, a few months after Charles's death, Chad's wife Tammy also died. In October 2019, Tammy died under highly suspicious circumstances. Daybell claims that she passed away from natural causes 10 days after calling the police to report that a masked intruder had attempted to shoot her. Her body was later exhumed, and an investigation was conducted, but there was no autopsy or post-mortem performed at the time, as the autopsy was refused by the family. A decision that would later lead some to question Tammy's death, and although the case was reopened, the results were never made public. 2 weeks after Tammy's death, Chad and Laurie flew to Hawaii and got married. They had used the deceased Charles Vallo's Amazon account to make the purchase of the rings. During this ceremony, neither JJ nor Tylee were present. Concerns about their whereabouts are already increasing, as it was already November and the last time people saw Tylee and JJ was in September. 17-year-old Tylee was last seen after the family visited Yellowstone National Park. 7-year-old JJ was last seen pulled out of school, with Vallo telling the school that he would be homeschooled from then on. When JJ's grandmother raised the alarm that he hadn't been seen in weeks, police in Rexburg were called to conduct a welfare check. One significant reason for the national attention to this case was that JJ is autistic, and even though he was with his sister Tylee, the family was concerned that if the two were separated, he could have been taken advantage of. Laurie lied when asked about their whereabouts, claiming the 2 children were staying with a friend, who actually denied this. Laurie's children were clearly missing, but when interviewed by the media, she pretended everything was fine. She refused to reveal where her children were or what had happened to them, and she denied any allegations. Eventually, Laurie and Chad stopped cooperating with law enforcement and left the state with the help of his brother. In December 2019, police declared JJ and Tylee a missing persons case and named Laurie and Chad as persons of interest. Laurie and Chad managed to evade the authorities for the next 3 months until Laurie's storage locker in Rexburg was searched. They discovered children's clothing, bikes, and photographs inside it. Prior to fleeing, video footage showed Vallo and her brother moving items in and out of the locker. Vallo and Daybell were arrested on the 20th of February 2020. And in June 2020, a search of Daybell's home turned up human remains buried in a pet cemetery that was later identified as JJ. According to court documents, JJ was buried in the pet cemetery, and Tylee's remains were dismembered and burned in a fire pit. Before Tylee was killed, Vallo and Daybell had texted each other that Tammy was in limbo and possessed by a spirit named Viola. Prior to that, Laurie referred to Tylee as a zombie. She described Tylee as having a dark spirit. According to a felony indictment, Chad and Laurie discussed using their religious beliefs to justify the murder of JJ and Tylee. There are still so many unanswered questions out there, as this case is still an ongoing trial. While they have been charged with multiple offences, they will stand trial for the murder of JJ, Tylee, and Daybell's wife Tammy in January 2023. Daybell faces 3 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder, and 2 counts of conspiracy. Vallo will face the same charges as her husband, but with 1 less count of first-degree murder. Both have pleaded not guilty. Once again, thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching today. My name is James and this is the restricted section. If you enjoy stories like this one, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. And just a reminder, if there are any topics you would like to see in future videos, please let me know in the comments section down below. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.